Hello and welcome to the news update on Papyrus Global TV. I am Christiana Babayo, and here are the headlines. Trump orders powerful U.S. strikes on ISIS in northwest Nigeria. Nigeria confirms U.S. strikes as part of ongoing security cooperation. Army confirms Boko Haram suicide bomber behind Maiduguri mosque blast. INEC clears only 2 associations for final party registration, 6 disqualified. Army chief praises frontline soldiers, acknowledges their sacrifices. Jigawa governor appoints development agenda coordinators for local councils. Gbajabiamila remains Tinubu's chief of staff. Presidency denies rumors. And now the news in full. US President Donald Trump has announced that he ordered powerful and deadly strikes by the United States military against Islamic State militants operating in northwest Nigeria in a dramatic escalation of counter-terrorism actions in the region. The airstrike operation was carried out on Christmas Day, 25th December 2025, targeting extremist camps in Sokoto State as part of what Trump described as a decisive response to persistent violence. In a social media statement, Trump said the strikes were directed at what he called ISIS terrorist scum, who he accused of deadly attacks against civilians, particularly Christians, describing the operation as executed as only the United States is capable of doing. The U.S. Department of War reportedly fired precision munitions at multiple ISIS-linked targets and claimed that multiple militants were killed in the action. Trump's remarks included a pledge that there could be more to come if extremist violence continue. The U.S. Africa Command, AFRICOM, confirmed that the strikes in Sokoto were conducted at the request of the Nigerian authorities and involved intelligence coordination with Nigeria's security agencies, reflecting structured cooperation under existing bilateral security arrangements. AFRICOM's initial assessment suggested that the operation successfully hit ISIS sites, though the exact number of casualties and material impact on militant capabilities remain unverified independently. The timing of the strikes on a major religious holiday underscores the Trump administration's emphasis on aggressive action against groups it blames for sectarian violence, though critics and analysts note the complex security landscape in Nigeria, where extremists such as Boko Haram and the Islamic State West Africa Province (ISWAP) operate alongside other criminal networks. The federal government of Nigeria has officially confirmed the United States airstrikes on terrorist targets in the northwest of the country as part of a structured security cooperation aimed at tackling violent extremism and terrorism. The confirmation came in a formal statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, emphasizing that the action followed intelligence sharing, strategic coordination, and bilateral cooperation with international players, including the U.S. government. The ministry statement clarified that the cooperation adheres to international law, mutual respect for sovereignty, and shared commitments to regional and global security. It stressed that all counter-terrorism efforts are guided by the protection of civilian lives, national unity, and the rights and dignity of all citizens, irrespective of religion or ethnicity. The government affirmed that terrorism in any form, whether against Christians, Muslims, or other communities, remain unacceptable and a threat to peace and stability across Nigeria. Nigeria reiterated its commitment to ongoing collaboration with partners to weaken terrorist networks, disrupt funding and logistics, prevent cross-border threats, and strengthen domestic security capabilities. The Foreign Ministry added that it would continue to engage relevant partners and update the public through official channels. The Nigerian Army has provided fresh details on the deadly mosque bombing in Maiduguri, Borno State, confirming that the explosion was carried out by a suspected Boko Haram suicide bomber during the Maghrib prayer on 24 December 2025. The attack took place inside the Gamboru Mosque in the city's busy Gamboru market area, an environment that had been relatively calmer compared to earlier years of insurgent violence. According to a statement by Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, Media Information Officer for Operation Hatinkai, preliminary investigations indicate the bomber detonated an improvised explosive device IED inside the mosque as worshippers gathered, killing himself and 2 civilians outright. A total of 32 civilians sustained varying degrees of injuries. 2 critically wounded individuals later died in hospital, while others remain under medical care. The army said it responded swiftly alongside other agencies, including the Nigeria Police Explosive Ordnance disposal team, the Borno State government and the National Emergency Management Agency securing and cordoning off the blast site to prevent further harm. Victims were evacuated to the General Hospital and University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital for urgent treatment. In the wake of the attack, troops and security agencies have intensified surveillance, patrols, and intelligence-driven operations in Maiduguri and surrounding areas to forestall additional incidents during the Yuletide period. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has reportedly advanced only two political associations to the final stage of registration as full political parties in Nigeria, after disqualifying six others that failed to meet final regulatory requirements. The associations cleared to proceed are the Africa Alliance Party (AAP) and the Democratic Leadership Alliance (DLA), marking a narrowing of the field ahead of the next general election cycle. The development follows an extensive screening process during which INEC received letters of intent from around 110 associations in June 2025, a number that later rose to about 171 applicants after additional submissions. INEC had previously pre-qualified 14 associations in September and further shortlisted 8 in October based on compliance with statutory requirements. However, after detailed assessment and verification of documentation, only AAP and DLA met all constitutional and regulatory thresholds necessary to advance towards full party status, according to officials familiar with the process. We will now go on a short break, and when we come back, the news will continue. Stay tuned.
The Papyrus Global, we don't just cover events, we create cinematic experiences. From red carpets to birthdays, gala dinners, and your fairy tale weddings, we bring your moments to life with high-tech precision. Our gadgets are smarter, our lenses sharper, and our team simply world-class. Trust the Papyrus Global to tell your story in the boldest, brightest way possible.
Welcome back, and now the news will continue. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, has publicly commended Nigerian Army troops deployed on the front lines of the country's security operations, emphasizing that their sacrifice and dedication are deeply appreciated as part of national efforts to restore peace and stability. In remarks delivered during a visit to military formations and operation bases, the Army Chief said the courage exhibited by soldiers confronting insurgents, bandits, and other criminal elements reflects the highest ideals of service and contributes to the protection of citizens and the defense of Nigeria's territorial integrity. He highlighted the professionalism and resilience shown by troops in challenging environments, often under severe conditions that demand personal risk and endurance. Lieutenant General Shaibu reiterated the Army's commitment to strengthening existing operations by improving logistics, intelligence sharing, and troops' welfare, even as strategic offensives continue across different regions. He emphasized that soldiers' well-being is essential to operational effectiveness and pledged that the leadership would sustain measures to support personnel and families impacted by prolonged deployment. The Jigawa State government has appointed coordinators for the implementation of the state's development agenda across its 27 local government areas, a move aimed at strengthening policy execution and enhancing service delivery at the grassroots level. According to a statement from the Office of Governor Umar Namadi, the new coordinators will oversee the rollout of Jigawa Economic and Social Transformation Agenda 2026, focusing on priority sectors including education, healthcare, infrastructure, agriculture, and youth empowerment. Each coordinator is expected to serve as a link between local authorities and state ministries, ensuring that development plans are effectively translated into programs that meet the specific needs of communities. The governor's directive highlights the importance of localized leadership and accountability in achieving broader state objectives. Coordinators will be required to provide regular progress reports, engage with community stakeholders, and monitor implementation of projects including schools, health posts, rural roads, and economic empowerment initiatives. The presidency of Nigeria has officially dismissed the false and widespread social media claim that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has replaced his chief of staff, Femi Bajabiamila, with his principal private secretary, Hakeem Muri Okunola. The clarification was issued in a statement by Bayo Onanuga, the president's special advisor on information and strategy, who described the viral reports as entirely untrue and misleading. According to the statement, Honorable Femi Bajabiamila remains firmly in his role as the Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu, while Hakeem Muri Okunola continues in his position as Principal Private Secretary and has not assumed the Chief of Staff role. The presidency said the speculation was a fabrication spread to create disharmony within the government and urged Nigerians to disregard the rumors entirely. Officials also called on media organizations and members of the public to verify information before publishing or sharing unconfirmed reports, particularly on sensitive issues concerning the presidency, stressing the importance of accurate reporting in national discourse. Bajabiamila, a former Speaker of the House of Representatives, was appointed Chief of Staff by President Tinubu in June 2023, shortly after the start of the current administration, and has been a key figure in coordinating the presidency's activities and strategic agenda. And that's the end of the news update on Papyrus Global TV. I am Christiana Babayo. Thanks for joining us.